いずれにせよ、第一の番がわからねえ限り、これ以上はお手上げだな。
How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, Episode 5, where we are in the middle of trying to solve the riddle of the epitaph of the Golden Witch Beatrice. The thing is that I don't think that I'll ever be able to really, piece this together. I struggle enough with the daily Wordle. There's absolutely no way in hell I'm going to be able to piece things together here. However, I do really enjoy how really misleading, in a way, this riddle is. It's not necessarily supposed to be taken at face value, which I could have guessed. But how are you supposed to interpret it? Well, it's kind of hard to say. I like the idea here of utilizing characters and then therefore removing characters away based on certain conditions. We've kind of done a little bit of the first and second Twilight, the second one being two characters that are next to each other have to be separated from each other, or they have to be eliminated like the first 6. But yeah, let us continue on and see if maybe, just maybe in this video, or at all, if we will be able to solve the riddle. We tried looking at it from several different angles, but in the end we got stuck there and made no further advances. Well, there's that. Maria let out an extra large yawn. This caused several other people to yawn. We'd been using our heads so much that everyone had gotten a little sleepy. Jessica, who had been silent and irritated the whole time, quickly stood up.
私はマリアと一緒に上へ行ってるぜ。テレビでも見てる。
そうだね。僕も上がるよ。そうだ。みんなで上でトランプでもしようか。
When George proposed this, Maria completely forgot about that big yawn of hers and started jumping around, insisting that she wanted to play cards. According to the clock, it was already 10 at night. It was already about the time you'd normally take a bath and get ready for sleep. Even the adults seemed pretty wary from traveling. We decided to continue this later and went our separate ways.
エリカちゃんも一緒にどう？トランプ。
お気持ちだけで結構です。客人の分もわきまえず、ちょっと仕切りすぎました。今夜はおとなしく休もうと思います。自分が遭難者であることをすっかり忘れていましたから。
まったくだぜ。とても溺れてたとは思えない元気さだ。
若さね。でも楽しかったわ。あなたのおかげで推理が一層進んだ気がする。もし私が黄金を見つけたら100万円くらい分けてあげるわ。
せめて気前よく1億くらいドーンとは言えんのか。
結構です。私に興味があるのは謎解きだけですので。それではこれで失礼します。おやすみなさい。
おやすみ。
あら、バトラ君は上に行かないの？
俺はちょっと面白くなっちまったんで、もう少しここで考えをまとめてみます。第一の番を示す文字列さえ分かれば、きっと一気に道は開けると思うんすけどね。
That seems to be the case, actually. It worked for Ava. Everyone went up to the second floor, one by one. Only Aunt Rosa remained behind, cleaning up the coffee cups everyone had been drinking out of. Kirie-san and some others had offered to help, but Rosa had refused and was washing them all alone. Since I had just been treated to such delicious coffee, I decided to help too. I wasn't just doing it because I felt obligated. I wanted to keep discussing the epitaph with someone.
第一の番、第一の。ローザおばさんはなんか思いつく文字列とか言葉あるっすか？
さあ、私には全然。でも第一の番じゃなくて第10の番はちょっと気になったかしら。
第10の番？何ですか？
黄金鏡って単語何度も出てくるでしょ？
出てきますね。
なぜか第10の番だけ旅は終わり黄金の鏡、いえ、黄金の里へ至るだろうって書かれているの。
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, whenever you reach like the journey's end, you reach it for the first and last time. You can't go through the same journey twice.
どうしてここだけ黄金の里と書かれているのか気になってね。
本当だ。
I mean, that's how I perceive it. If we want to avoid it, you know, being taken literally, that there actually is a golden land that you will, or whatever that you get, you know, to as a destination. I mean, you get to, you know, figure out where the gold is for the first and last time. You only get to figure something out once. Once you figured it out, there's no figuring it out again, right? You've already gotten there.
確かに。他はみんな黄金鏡って書かれてるのに。
And that line should have been a key part of the riddle, where you wouldn't expect the writer to easily waste words needlessly. I mean, I see it as like a fancy way of doing it, not necessarily like as a way to trip you up, but maybe there is something to it. Could it have been done for some special purpose?
しかしバトラ君とあのエリカちゃんって子はすごいわね。発想が本当に柔らかい。私なんかもうおばさんだから頭が全然回転しないのよ。
We also have to consider the fact that both Erica and Battler at this point in time for this rendition of the story are played by the same character.
今日の鍵の選び師6人は6文字を間引けという意味だという推理は見事だったわ。そう聞かされちゃったらもうそうにしか思えないけれど、それまでは全然そうだと思わなかったものね。自分の頭の硬さが嫌になるわ。
そんなことないっすよ。ローズおばさんだって頭十分柔らかいっすよ。その黄金の里って発見は何かの鍵になるかもしれないじゃないっすか。
とんでもない。カチカチよ。私なんてついこの間までは第一の番というのは黄金鏡までの道中の10分の1の場所だとか思ってたんだから。
なんすかそれ。面白そうだから聞かせてくれませんか。
だって第一の番の前の行に黄金鏡へ旅立つべしって書いてあるでしょ。そして10日をかけて旅をするわけだから、これはその旅の途中のお話なんだろうと思ったの。
Huh. Okay, wait a minute. Then that kind of changes things. That is what she did say. You can go somewhere one time, but then you have a journey, and then you get back to that place again, but that's for the last time. Now, Ava and Rosa both came to the same conclusion. Ava was a little quicker with it, and they both went underground somewhere. What significance does that necessarily have? Did they go somewhere on this island? Maybe when they were younger? Did they know about something? Or did they know that Kinzo went somewhere on this island and did something and then came back to it or something along those lines? Is there something maybe there that we can take note of?
旅。確かに。
それで旅を始めて最初の一晩目のキャンプで6人を生贄に捧げて。ならその場所ってどこだろう。スタート地点から何キロ目なんてね。内緒よ。おばさんバカだから黄金の里のことずっと黄金の京って読んじゃってて。ほら京って言うと京都みたいでしょ。だからお父様の故郷から京都までの旅路の最初の10分の1の地点に何か秘密が隠されてるんじゃないかって思って。
いや、めちゃくちゃ斬新っすよ。その発想。10日をかけての旅の最初の1番目の場所。そこの地名が鍵か。
それを知るにはスタート地点とゴール地点がわからないとね。スタート地点は分かってるの。お父様が懐かしむ故郷は分かってる。お父様は少年時代をとても遠方で過ごされたのよね。でも問題はゴールの黄金鏡ね。一体どこのことなのかしら。
I mean, if that's the case, if it's a distance away, that distance being a number, if you take numbers, you know, digits away from the whole number, well, that wouldn't work either. I mean, you'd have to have a 7-digit number at least. If we were thinking in kilometers or something along those lines, but otherwise, No, I think we're getting a little too deep into it there.
それがわからなきゃ私の説もさっぱり。長いことここで行き詰まってたんだけど、今日のバトラ君たちの推理を聞いてて、やっぱり私の恥ずかしい勘違いだったんだわって思い知ったわ。
いや、それはそれできっと、スタートとゴール10日間の旅、その最初の一晩目の到達点。
案外バトラ君ならポロッと解けちゃったりしてね。もしおばさんのヒントで解けたなら1割の半分でもいいから分けっこしてね。約束よ。
Despite being my aunt, she gave me a smile and a wink which would have made a man's heart jump. As I helped her wash the coffee cups, I kept pondering the epitaph's riddle in silence. You know, Rosa does come off as pretty attractive until, she starts abusing her daughter and also neglecting her. In my opinion, that is. After I finished helping Aunt Rosa, I passed through the corridor on my way to the bathroom and saw Erica unlocking the door to a room on my path.
あんたの部屋は2階じゃなかったか？てっきり上に上がってもう部屋で休んでるのかと思ってたぜ。
ちょっと探し物をしてまして、ここにならあるのではないかと思いまして。
探し物？
And she just so happens to have keys with her. Erica unlocked the door and opened it. A dusty smell drifted out. Oh, here we go. It was the library. For a library, the gaps between bookshelves were extremely small. This was obviously built for storing books, not reading them.
探し物ってのは本なのか？
本と言いますか、まあ資料です。どうしてもしたい調べ物がありまして。
碑文の謎に関する探し物か？まだ諦めてなかったとは殊勝なこったな。200億の黄金は魅力か？
I hadn't given up either. Apparently being stubborn is something we both share.
まさか私にとって興味があるのは謎解きだけ。黄金を求めるのは推理が正しかったことの証明が欲しいからだけです。仮に見つけても猫ババなんてしませんのでご安心を。
She immediately cast my comment aside, saying that she just liked solving riddles and had no interest at all in the gold. I've thought that she was pretty weird from the start, and it looks like that impression was spot on. Erica slowly circled the bookshelves, searching for the book she was after.
碑文の謎解きなら俺もまだ挑戦中だぜ。そうそう。さっきローザおばさんに第一の晩のヒントになるかもしれない面白い話を聞いたぜ。
伺います。
Erica asked this without stopping her search, or even turning to face me.
第一の晩にの前の行に鍵を手にせし者は以下に従いうんぬんってのがあったろ。
鍵を手にせし者は以下に従いて黄金郷へ旅立つべし。
ふう、もう暗記したのかよ。
Yeah, I wish I could.
さすがだな。
それがどうかしたんですか？
黄金郷へ旅立つべし。ローザおばさんは第10の晩、すなわちということを連想したらしい。
実はそれは私も気づいてました。10日かかる旅路の1日目にたどり着く場所、そこから生贄を捧げる。
ああ、ローザおばさんもまさにそれを想像した。面白い推理だと俺も思う。10日の旅の初日にたどり着く場所、その土地、もしくは地名が鍵になるんじゃねえかってな。
地名が鍵になるのではないかという推測は私もしています。だから資料が見たいんです。推測を確信に変えるために。
あんた、探し物は何なの？
Wait, maybe it's not necessarily a distance thing, but more so of a, like, it's still going back to a name. If we're using English characters maybe, or even Japanese ones. If we have enough that we can take away from, we could utilize those characters to create something else that we're removing. Either we take the characters that we're removing to create something else with what's left, or we utilize the removed characters to create something in the end result. Then Erica's hand suddenly stopped and she slowly pulled it out. As she dusted it off, she finally looked at me and spoke.
地図帳です。
Ah. Oh, well, that's the end of the chapter. So if I only recorded for about 15 minutes more in the last video, which I think was already a long one because, you know, things are interesting. Things are getting interesting. So, will we solve this thing? Because we seem to be going down the same path that Ava did, that Rosa did. Natsuhi could be seen in the study. When she muttered as though to herself, gold butterflies appeared and formed the shape of a person. You know, as fine as I am with, you know, Rosa having her, or not Rosa, Natsuhi having her schizophrenic meetings here with Beatrice and company, I would rather like to get back over to the guest house and continue solving this shit.
やはりお父様が不機嫌で出てこないというだけではごまかしきれませんか。去年の時点で相当の不信を持たれていたようだ。それにより膨れ上がった毒素は今やとぐろを巻くかのようにこの書斎を取り囲み締め上げている。
去年から疑われていただけではないでしょうな。
そうですね。それだけでは説明がつかないくらいに毒素は濃密に練り上げられています。おそらく金蔵様の死を去年の時点から疑い、今年の会議にて暴こうという強い意志があったに違いありません。
That's basically all of them.
去年の時点から騙しきれていなかったということですか。
残念ながらそうお考えになる方が今はよろしいかと。明日も台風はとどまり、迎えの船は明後日になります。つまりあと最低でも36時間を持ちこたえねばならないということです。
Which is about to get very interesting.
夏日の目には見えぬであろうが、この部屋を閉ざす密室結界は極めて強固なものだった。
Was firm.
それが今夜だけでボロボロに擦り切れ、嵐を待つ枯葉のようなありさまだ。いいえ、まさに嵐の真っ只中にありますよ。夏日様、私は密室結界を別のものに変えることを提案いたします。別のものというのはどういう意味ですか？
Yeah, what other ideas do we have? Do we want to go with the idea now that he's, you know, run off?
つまり作戦を変えるという意味ですか？
さようでございます。私とワルギリア様で去年のものに近い結界を再構築します。
つまり去年のように金蔵を極力書斎の外に出し、毒素の影から影へと綱渡りをさせるということだ。危険ではあるが、わらわもそれを提案したい。何ですって？今さら作戦を変えるというのですか？籠城では切り抜けられぬと分かった以上、城を捨てることも考えねばなりません。
この書斎はもはや敵兵に囲まれ城壁さえも破られかけた城に同じ。座瀬は死を意味するならば、玉砕を求めて最後の出陣をするのも手でしょうな。降伏できぬ戦いでしょうから。
お父様の秘密は最後の最後まで絶対に死守します。それを蹴取られれば言い繕う余地など何もない。主人の横領は白日の下にさらされ、後宮家の名誉は失墜します。断固としてそれだけは防がねばなりません。落ち着け。分かっておるわ。クラウスの錬金術はじきに大勢を迎える。今年を乗り切れば何とかなるのだ。だからうろたえるでない。しかし去年と同じ手では無理だとして取った作戦がこの籠城なのですよ。一度は無理と切り捨てた作戦を再び選ぶのは愚の骨頂ではありませんか？一体今さらどういう筋書きを作るというのですか？それは私とロノウェイで用意します。お任せを。幻想を生み出すのは魔女たちの役目。夏日様はそのご許可をくださるだけで結構でございます。
I mean, permission or not, everything that's happening here is supposedly not even happening. Right now, we just have Natsuhi maybe doubting whether or not things are going to work all alone in this room. But I don't know. This is the cover-up. Are they really going to change the plan? Natsuhi and the servants, are they going to go with an idea that they had last year?
お師匠様もロノウェもこういう時は実に頼れるぞ。片翼のわしの使用人どもも家具としては優秀だ。お師匠様たちが魔法を再構築すればそれを守るために働くだろう。今からでも決して遅くはない。金蔵を書斎から出しその幻想を歩き回らせよう。
その作戦を長く検討し、それでも有効なものが見出せなかったから籠城を選んだことを忘れましたか。急場にうろたえ軽々しく当初の作戦を投げ出すなど愚かしいことです。
しかし夏木様、籠城ではもはやしのぎきれぬことは毒素の真っ只中でそれを感じ取っておられた夏木様が一番ご存知のはずです。
私は籠城の方針は変えずになんとか他の作戦を考えられないかと提案します。とにかくこの部屋を密室に保ちさえすれば誰もお父様の存在を否定はできないのです。開けることのできぬ猫箱の中身を断定することなど何人にもできないのですから。
確かにそうではあるが、人間どもは不条理であるぞ。密閉した猫箱とてケーキの箱に群がるクロアリのように箱を食い破って中に入ることもあり得る。
Oh yeah, they always find a way.
ベルンカステル教の駒も気になるしな。
エリカ様が晩餐の話題をさらってくださったのは幸いでした。おかげで今夜の親族会議をお開きにできる雰囲気を生み出してくれたのですから、普段のように即座に親族会議となっていたら今夜にも結界は破られていたかもしれません。
しかしそのせいでより濃密に毒素は練り上げられました。明日まで練り上げられた毒素は密室結界をたやすく犯すでしょう。籠城を続けるにせよやめるにせよどちらにせよ新しい作戦と結界を用意しなくては明日は乗り越えられません。密室結界を破るための何かの策があるのかもしれぬな。あのエリカというこまめ。
No, that is true.
それを言えば例の19年前の復讐とかいう謎の男もベルンカステル教の駒かもしれません。18の駒で均衡が取れていた盤面に望まぬ駒が2つも追加された。
We have Erica and we have the unknown individual.
イレギュラーが多すぎます今年は。
Also, about that unknown individual, somebody brought up in the comments that was Battler's voice actor, but the likeliness of it being Battler isn't really up there. I have to be reminded frequently because I do forget, actually, that this game was originally, not voiced. It also had, graphics that, some can appreciate, but me, however, don't want to be running with here. And so things are much different than the original intentions of when the game was actually put together all those years ago. So, was that Battler on the phone? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But that does mean that we have another person added into the story in some sort of way. And maybe it's just to freak Natsuhi out, but they exist. They called, whoever they are.
ベルンカステル教は東洋趣味が終わりだったな。日本のチェス、将棋ではゲーム中に駒を追加することもできるというではないか。ええ、可能ですよ。敵のキングの目の前に駒置き場より取り出したクイーンを置くことさえ将棋では許された切り札たる一手です。
19年前を語る男はどうしているのでしょう。この島のどこかにすでに潜んでいるというのでしょうか。
I don't think so.
エリカという少女が
But the fear is there.
現れることができたのです。
See, we know the amount of people that are on this island. It's only 18. But Natsuhi doesn't know that. No one knows the true number of people on this island. They can assume what they know. I mean, we all made assumptions through 4 episodes that there were 18, but it was always 17. It's only what we knew.
あの男もこの台風にもかかわらず島のどこかに上陸し息を潜めているのかもしれない。そして 親族たちをもはや騙しきることは難しく、どうしてこうもイレギュラーが重なるのですか？この悪夢と偶然の奇跡をどう説明すればいいというのですか？
Hey, get ready for 6 people to die tonight. That's another irregular thing. Natsuhi slammed the desk hard, held her head, and cringed at the pain from her overwhelming headache.
ベルンカステル教は奇跡を司る。あの御人の前にイレギュラーと奇跡は驚くにも値せぬぞ。
将棋は確かにキングの真正面に敵の駒が突如現れることを認めたゲームです。ですが、だからこそそこに隙間を作らぬ完璧な陣形を作り、キングを守る芸術的な城を構築します。
ならばやはり籠城は正しいではありませんか。
こもりきれる籠城ならばいざ知れず、今はそれを期待できる段階にありません。
壁を背負わぬキングを詰めるのは難しく、四方を分けたキングを詰めるのはさらに困難だろう。ネズミで考えよ。カゴに閉じ込めたネズミを掴むことはできよう。しかし野に逃げ出したネズミを掴むことなど雲を掴むに等しい話よ。
夏日様、どうか検討することのご許可を。金蔵様が書斎をお出になり、気まぐれに屋敷内を闊歩しながら親族の方々の目を逃れる。
That's what he supposedly did in episode 1.
それが自然である筋書きを明朝までに考えます。
危険では。それくらいならお父様がこの部屋で機嫌を損ねられていることを演じ続けた方が。
明日にも親族の方々はこの書斎の前に詰めかけるでしょう。そこの扉一枚向こう側に詰めかけるのです。そこで夏日様は金蔵様と怒鳴り合いをしているかのようなふりを一体何時間続けられるというのですか。不可能です。
その不可能をなんとか36時間逃げ切らねばならないのです。やれと言うならやります。私は後宮夏日。
Yeah, we know who you are.
後宮家当主の妻です。
Yeah, we know who you are supposed to be.
それをやれと言うなら私は何日でもここでお父様と怒鳴り合いをしているところを演じましょう。
Even Natsuhi realized that she could never manage it, but she no longer saw any chance of victory from a plan that involved an illusion of Kinzo walking around. Banging on the desk several times with tears of rage streaming down her face, Natsuhi alternated between groaning from her headache and placing the blame on one thing or another. It made one feel that there must be some curse that made anyone who sat in that chair act that way.
これは奥様が逃げる詰将棋ですな。詰将棋ですから相手のキングはない。決められた手数を逃げ切る以外に奥様に勝つ手はないのです。
その手数か。あと1日半もあるなんて多すぎます。
考えることをやめるでない。愚痴はわらわが聞こうぞ。だから音を上げるでないぞ。そなたの絶対にこの苦難を乗り越えようという絶対の意志が絶対の結果を紡ぎ出す。それこそが絶対の魔女の力。その魔力を失ってはならぬ。必ず乗り越えられると信じよ。きっと妙案は浮かぶ。だからそれを考えることを投げ出してはならぬ。
そうですね、分かっています。私が乗り越えねば他の誰にも乗り越えられぬ困難なのです。
そうとも。それを乗り越えてみせようとそなたは金蔵に託されたのではないか。金蔵はそなたなら託せると認めたのだ。
No, Kinzo's dead. No one acknowledged Natsuhi of anything of the sort. Again, nothing should be happening here. This scene playing out is just to mess with us, though it could also give us a hint of what to expect as we continue onward.
お父様、お父様。
お師匠様とロノウェが手は考える。もちろんわらわも考える。だが主であるそなたの許可なくばそれも許されぬ。だからせめてそなたは戦う意志を捨てるな。 諦めるな。
分かってます。分かってます。でももう疲れ切ってしまって、頭痛が耐えられなくて。どうして私はこんなにも冷え切った書斎でたった一人で泣いているの？どうして主人は今
Yeah, where is
ここにい
Kraus?
てくれないの？
Is he out getting killed? I'm pretty sure he dies. Is he one of the 6 that dies? I want to say he is. But when dinner ended, Kraus claimed to be dizzy and went to bed early. Of course, he had done this to get enough rest to ready himself for the long day ahead. But to Natsuhi right now, it felt as though he had just gone straight to sleep and pushed the entire burden on her. However, complaining about such a thing would mean her failure as a wife. Isn't it a good wife's duty to work hard and put family first, even when her husband is resting? Filled with regret, even after her anger towards her husband, unable to determine at whom she should be angry, Natsuhi continued to sob. If only Kinzo could just speak at her kindly at times like this. Beato searched for him, but Kinzo had been nowhere to be seen in the study for some time now. Perhaps Natsuhi had noticed this as well. Though she bragged that fighting alone and supporting from behind was the responsibility of a good wife, without anyone to tell her that this really was necessary, she was now so frail that she couldn't stop her own tears. Just as Beato was trying to think of words to console Natsuhi, Virgilia tapped her lightly on the shoulder. Sometimes when words of consolation don't come from the mouth of the right person, they can do more harm than good. So Virgilia silently told Beato that remaining silent was the best course of action for now. I was wondering when she was going to show up.
今は慎みなさい。いや、この場にいる限り部外者も客人もありません。発言を許します。
ありがとう。さっきロノウェイは言ったわ。これは夏日が逃げる詰将棋だとね。詰将棋はどうして負けるの？キングがチェックメイトされるからでしょ。言われるまでもないわ。そして敵にはキングがない。だから夏日は自分のキングを逃がし続けるしかない。
なるほど、その手ですか。もうその時が来ましたか。
どういうことです？何か手があるというのですか？
夏日はゴールドスミスの死を隠す一番最初に提案してるわ。それを使う時が来たということよ。
What, where he went missing?
失踪ですか。その一手を親族会議の今指すというのですか。危険すぎます。
Once they'd successfully resolved all of their problems, they would have to lay Kinzo to rest. And the best way to do that was to make him disappear. One day, Kinzo would go out into the forest and never return. They wouldn't be able to find him no matter how much they searched, so he would be declared missing.
さっきリーチェも言ったわ。野に逃れたネズミを捕まえることはできない。そして森に消えたゴールドスミスを捕らえることもね。
それで言い逃れられると？この最も疑われた今にその一手を指すなど、まさに自殺にも等しい一手です。
疑われるでしょう。まさに疑惑と呼ばれるに等しい一手でしょう。しかしこの書斎に彼らが踏み込もうともぬけの殻、金蔵様を捕らえることは永遠に不可能で、その死はこれほどまでに疑わしいにもかかわらず
36時間どころか永遠に金蔵の秘密を守ることができるんじゃない？もちろんそれにふさわしいリスクを背負うことになるけれど、その一手を指せば確かにこの場を乗り切ることはできようが、失う名誉も計り知れぬぞ。それでも確実にこの場を乗り切れる一手よ。もちろん疑惑を大きく背負うわ。でも死なない。
確かにそれはそうですが、
関東大震災で後宮家は本当だったら滅んでいるはずだったのよ。それを狂気の天才ゴールドスミスが再建して
あなたが守りたくなるくらいに立派に再建してみせたわ。なら今度はそれをあなたたち新しき当主夫妻がやってみせるべきなのよ。
ほう、そういう煽り方をなさいますか。
煽りじゃないわ。当主夫人としての覚悟を私は聞いているだけよ。
Well, she did recently declare that she was, but, you know,
泥をすすってで
they're
も
not in that
後ろ
position
宮家を守る
yet.
覚悟があなたにはあるんでしょ。
あります。
今がその時よ。泥をすすって生き延びられるならいくらでも飲み干しなさい。あなたは苦害を這いずって生き延び、やがては必ず栄光を取り戻す。この序列第33位のガープがそれを約束してあげるわ。
ガープ。
私がこのタイミングでここへ遊びに来たのは守ってあげる。後ろ宮夏日、対価は不要よ。あんたに仕えてるリーチェからすでにたっぷり前払いされてるわ。
Gap may have seemed irresponsible, but she actually possessed a strong sense of duty. She was the kind of person who just couldn't leave someone in trouble alone.
前払い？はて、わらわがいつ記憶にないぞ。
あなたがどこにしまったか思い出せないマジックアイテムの数々、随分とちょろまかせてもらってるもの。
見つからないのはやはりそなたの仕業だったか。返せ！幻の金髄賞とムーンステッキ返せ！まだくっつけて遊んでないのに。
私から授けられる魔法と作戦はそんなところよ。ゴールドスミスを誰にも見つけられない世界へ私は隠すことができる。
Yep, the furnace.
この魔法が必要になったらいつでも言って。その直前まで夏日は他のもっと無難な作戦を思案すればいい。
確かに選択肢を残すことは心のゆとりを残すこと。心にゆとりなくして妙案も生まれぬものです。
夏日様、夜は短くありません。ガープの手は最後の切り札とし、今は策を練りましょう。
Yeah, I think, you know, how it worked out in previous episodes is that, you know, Kinzo wasn't found, you know, burning, well, not alive, but just burning. He wasn't found in the boiler room until like way later into each episode, I think. Maybe he was found early on in episode 2, I can't remember. But episode 1 definitely found way later in. So it's as if like, yeah, this wasn't an original like, we gotta hold off on doing this type of deal, and then it was like, okay, he needs to go missing now. And then he was put in there.
そのご許可をどうか。そして必ず成し遂げられるという信頼と魔力と絶対の信念を我らにお与えください。
あんたが信じれば私がそれを叶えるわ。あんたが疑えばそれも私が叶える。未来をあなたが作りなさい。
You are basically working with a goddamn genie. Or I guess in this case, a group of them. Like, they'll help you out, but they're also going to be killing people. Kinzo would disappear. And right in the middle of this family conference, such a move truly would be a last resort. Burying this final trump card in her heart, Natsuhi decided that she would grope around for a different plan until the last second. After all, this long, long night has only just begun. And it was long not only for her. Burn Castile and her peace had just as long to prepare as Natsuhi did. I mean, they're over there trying to solve the fucking riddle. They're just getting straight to work. Oh, are they out and about? Wait, where are we going? Yeah, they are out and about.
なるほど。やはりえぐるとはそういう意味だったんですね。またしても私の推理は正解でした。
The feel of it this time was clearly different from the previous times, as though some sort of device had been activated. However, as far as a quick glance could tell, there was no dramatic change, such as an entrance or some sort of opening. Apparently, they would need to do just a little more before they could find it.
すげえよ。 お前これで本当に黄金が見つかったら俺とお前で山分けだな。
知的興奮を楽しめただけで十分です。私が好きなのは謎解きだけ。報酬はそれが正しかったことの証明だけで十分です。
She shrugged it off, implying that just seeing the gold would be enough. Then she crouched down, peering fixedly at the lock mechanism. It's definitely no mistake to say this girl really loves solving riddles. For her, treasure hunting is all about the delicious process of exposing secrets. So she has no interest whatsoever in getting the treasure for herself and becoming a billionaire.
なるほど、よくもこんな仕掛けを。あなたたちの不運は私をこの島に迎えたことでしたね。ただ碑文がそこに存在するだけで、フルドエリカはこの程度の推理が可能です。いかがでしょうか。
As she said this to the now exposed contraption, she grinned. Her smile was triumphant, but it was more fully characterized by the small bit of unpleasant disdain contained within. After solving the riddle, she was probably reveling in the pleasure of having won against the one who had proposed it, and she enjoyed her ability to scoff at this person now. So they figured it out?
黄金が見つかれば、次期当主はクラウスさんでなくあなたですね。
どうだろうな。
クラウスさんってちょっと傲慢な方じゃないですか。
Yes, very.
偉そうって言いますか。そのクラウスさんが一夜明けたら、おいに黄金も次期当主の座もかっさらわれていたなんて。
Erica was still crouched down as she spoke, her back to Battler as she toyed around with the device. What device are they using here?
ジェシカさんでしたっけ。私に意見した女の子。あの子、自分の父親が次期当主だと威張ってましたね。
Well, yeah. There's gonna be bias there.
彼女は今夜が明け、バトラさんが全ての黄金を受け継ぎ、自分の父親がもはや次期当主で亡くなったことを知ったら、どんな表情を見せるんでしょうね。
別に俺は200億を独り占めする気は毛頭ねえぜ。ま、せいぜい1割ももらえりゃお腹いっぱいさ。あとは親族で仲良く分けりゃいい。次期当主なんてもっと興味がねえぜ。クラウスおじさんに喜んで押し付けさせてもらうぜ。
果たしてそう簡単な話で済むでしょうか。それを推理することよりは、今はジェシカさんが明日どんな表情をしながら。
I mean, it'll be pretty interesting to see what everybody's expressions are. You know, those who are alive.
どんな負け惜しみを口にするかの方が推理の対象としては楽しい気がします。
I can't remember. Did Kraus die or did Jessica die? Or did both of them die?
お前性格悪いな。
Yeah, slightly.
おや、謎解きが好きという時点で推理できませんでした。私、人が隠すことを暴くのが好きな知的蹂躙者なんですよ。
I'm not really sure I've ever heard the term intellectual rapist, but okay, all right.
碑文の謎解きも
It's
そうです。
quite the term to utilize, but okay.
じいさまが満を持して隠した黄金を暴いてやりたかったんだろ。
ええ、最初はそうでしたが、途中から目的が変わりました。
途中？何に？
ジェシカさんです。私の推理に口を挟み、高潔かつ高尚な時間を汚しました。だからあのジェシカという子に思い知らせたくて。
Okay, I kind of respect that.
ことに目的を変えたんです。
My twisted side actually respects that.
お前本気で言ってんのか？
私はどんな相手でも屈服させます。それが私の唯一の優越です。まだ推理必要ですか？後ろ宮ジェシカは私をムカつかせた。
Uh-oh, she's getting a little weird here.
だから私は身の程を思い知らせてやりたくて碑文を解くことにした。そこから導かれる今の私の感情、推理可能ですか？
This time I turned my back on her in earnest. Did I get a bit too excited by this riddle-solving game, letting her drive me on and do something terrible? Nah, you're good. That's right. It should have been possible to reason this out. If the riddle is solved, the relatives will probably freak out about who the successor will be. Dad and some others will probably push for me, the discoverer, to be the successor, and some relatives not thrilled with the prospect will probably oppose them. Despite how adamantly Erica affirmed it, it isn't written anywhere that the one who solves the riddle of the epitaph becomes the successor. Because of this, it'll lead to a fight between those who acknowledge that theory and those who don't. If I reason out what will happen next, as Erica did, it'll probably lead to a messy fight between Uncle Kraus and the rest of the relatives. Now that I've solved the riddle, will Jessica admire me or curse me? I don't want to think about that now. Erica was still mumbling. Apparently, she had already started trying to reason it out. As I began to feel very bad, I vaguely gazed out into the black night. You know, just a random thought. I don't know why I'm thinking this. But wouldn't it be crazy if Rosa came out here and just killed Battler? Wouldn't it be crazy if Ava killed Rosa? Wouldn't it be crazy if Jessica did something as well? Or something happened to Jessica? Or, you know, this family is not healthy whatsoever. I think we've been able to kind of piece that one together after 100 videos. But no, this is definitely not a healthy family. But what if the culprit is the family itself, you know? What if it's not a single person? At that time, I looked at a dim outdoor light and saw the silhouette of a person in front of it. I thought I must be seeing things. After all, it was unthinkable that someone could have been standing there this whole time, pounded upon by the rain without even an umbrella. However, the silhouette didn't even move an inch. Maybe. No, it couldn't be. It was looking at me. And it was... It's Rosa, right? Oh, it's Kinzo. But Kinzo is dead. Grandfather. At that moment, I understood. Grandfather's probably been watching us solve the riddle this whole time. And he watched as we spectacularly solved the whole thing. Without a doubt, there was a faint smile on Grandfather's face. Grandfather, who had never worn anything except moody and frightening expressions, looked at me in the eye and smiled at me for the first time. Almost as though he was saying how impudent. Or else, I never thought it would be you. However, this is still the result that Grandfather's epitaph chose, so I'm sure he accepted that result. In the end, he grinned one more time. Of course, he didn't use words. His smile seemed to be wordlessly saying, "Well done." I didn't know how I should respond. I couldn't do anything but stand there in shock, ignoring Erica as she crouched down, mumbling with her back towards me. Because this is all in Battler's head here. And then Grandfather stretched a hand out from the folds of his cloak and pointed at something. When I looked in that direction, there was... The thing he was pointing at was probably the signpost to the Golden Land. Go. I'm sure Grandfather said that one word. I nodded to show that I understood. After watching that, Grandfather nodded back, satisfied. Oh, goodbye. Then with a spin of his cloak, he disappeared, seeming to melt into the darkness. The expression on his face at the end was a smile that was, for the first time, truly satisfied. No, he's not.
見つけたぜ。あれが黄金鏡への道しるべだ。
え？あ、さっきと向きが変わってる。なるほど。あちらへ進めという意味ですか。良い観察力ですね。
じいさん、教えてもらった。
え？金蔵さん？どこに？
行くぜ。見せてもらおうじゃねえか。黄金鏡ってやつを。
Yeah, let's get to it. We started to walk. The entrance to the Golden Land was right there. I'm not really sure how we're coming to any of these conclusions.
我が非分がついに解かれたか。そしてバトラーがか。愉快この上なし。
When I think about it, I was also ahead that no one saw coming. How amusing that the one to succeed me is just as surprising.
これにて我が生涯に一切の未練はなし。ベアトリーチェそなたのもとへ行くぞ。我が非分が選びし奇跡を手土産にな。
Battler, of all people, that Battler.
我が生涯の最後の最後に我は真の奇跡を見たり。ベアトリーチェ
Yeah, it's been a while since we've gotten one of those.
この賭けは私の勝利だ。
Like, we really have not gotten a Kinzo Battler, or Kinzo Beatrice shout. There we go. Yep, I think we're headed towards it. I think we're on our way. So, it's this underground passage that we had in episode 4, maybe? Maybe? But here we go. Yeah, I agree, Battler. I agree. Alright, we'll wrap it up on that one. I guess in the next video, gold, and what we're gonna do with it, and whatever else. But hey, the epitaph has been solved. Now 2 out of the 5 episodes here that we are going through, so yeehaw on that one. I'm not really sure what conclusions they came to, but it seems like it was more of the verbiage utilized in the epitaph that is to throw you for maybe a bit of a loop. But, I mean, there was a sign, supposedly. It pointed you in a direction. So, in a way, it's kind of like reading a treasure map, maybe? Obviously, this is all hidden on the island. Where specifically, what paths you need to take, I'm not necessarily sure. But removing characters, maybe moving them around, seems to be the goal. And utilizing an atlas, knowing locations, knowing where they're at. That might be the big thing here. But thank you all for tuning into this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. I recorded this on Friday the 13th, so make sure that, you know, you guys are in good spirits and filled with good luck, because holy shit, I'm probably not. Take it easy, guys.